So guys, we are joined by Nitin Sethi. He recently scored some time back a score of 770. And in 4 weeks, he wrote the exam first and he got 730. Then he prepared for a little additional time and he got 770. Hey Nitin, hi. Finally, we get to see each other. We've been interacting over the emails and chat a little, but I guess you're here now. So first of all, congratulations. You could ace a 770, which is
Thank
phenomenal. And why don't you take us through your journey of 730 and then 770, and how did you come to know about us, and what has the 770 done to you? Has it increased your ambition to some extent, etc.? Just take us through the whole process of preparation.
Sure. Thanks a lot. So, yeah, I'll just take you to the context of my journey. Uh, Early this year in about January, February, I realized I was not, enjoying my work. And the key reason was I at some point wanted to do an MBA. And I had not made any progress in that direction, being busy through work, and didn't even have my GMAT in the way. And in some ways, it was stopping me about thinking about the MBA because it seemed like a big hurdle to do along with my job. And at that time, I also wanted to think about a job switch. So what I finally decided to do was just take some time off, take a small career sabbatical, and get this out of the way. And I had a very ambitious target to get it done in, say, 1 to 2 months, sort of a timeline. At that point, I spoke to a few of my peers at the organization I was working for, and they mentioned about top 1%, and that's how I got to know about the program. And I think, given the paucity of time, I decided to just go for it. I just attended a demo and I just went through that. So, just some key pointers are that I had no background of GMAT. I did not know what the scoring pattern was like, what's the syllabus, what are the sections, or anything at all. I think everything I learned was through the demo initially and then through the program. So I was a complete beginner at the GMAT at the time, and I had no prior preparation, or I even during the course or after the course have not looked at any material outside of the top 1% program. So just to give you a broad timeline, I had quit my job in on like March 19. That was my last working day. I started preparing a couple of weeks prior to that, but it was on and off given my exit formality. So I ballpark prepared for 4 to 6 weeks before my first attempt. The last 4 weeks were more concentrated, like I was doing the course full time, the self-paced course. And I wrote my first attempt on April of 19th. So that was the 730 attempt. In that, I had just strictly followed the Excel or the study plan that we had, going line by line and just following exactly what was written there in terms of watching the pre-work, seeing the video, and then just doing the post-work. And I feel it really helped me accelerate my preparation, because I feel this philosophy of coming prepared for the video lectures or a class really helped me first struggle myself with the concepts and the questions, and then when you were talking about the techniques or the solutions, it
Right.
really the gaps that got created during my attempts of those questions. So I
Okay,
think that
Nitin, just a little question. What was the score breakup when you had a 730? Please tell.
the quant was 50, verbal was, I believe, 40 at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now take us through what exactly you did for the second attempt, and why did
Right.
you feel that it was needed in the first place, and then what did you do differently this time?
Sure. So I rushed my first attempt. I got a bit over ambitious. I had some personal engagements in the end of that month, and I felt that I was prepared because one of my mocks came at about. So the first mock I wrote after about a month of preparation was about at 730. That was the official mock. And I was not quite happy with that, because you had very well set the goal of 760. So I did a bit of more studying for 3 4 days, and then I wrote a couple of mocks in the 3 days after. One was the Manhattan Kaplan mock. There I scored a 780, and then I wrote the official mock, the second mock, a week after the first mock. And there also I scored a 780. So I just thought that these two would be enough to get a similar score, at least a
Right.
760 in my actual exam, but that did not pan out. Primarily because my sentence correction and my critical reasoning were not at that level of mastery. And I think the mocks were not fully representative. I had not given the top mocks at that time because of time constraints. So so I realized that I had
So,
sort of rushed myself
right.
into the.
One small question here. So it was not because the test was unusual, but because that you had not really prepared SC and CR so thoroughly. So it was the mastery thing that you would say, probably.
Correct. Especially with SC, I had struggled the longest amount of time to pick up the concepts, given the amount of rules, etc. there were, and the muscle memory one has to create through practice. I think it
Right.
was not 100% there for me, especially with sentence correction.
All right, all right. So first thing, did you face anything unusual in the first attempt also? Just tell, like on the test day you felt that if you had been well prepared, was there anything unusual? I'll ask you for the second attempt as well, but let's get this out of the way.
So with unusual, you mean something that was not covered in the course
Yeah,
as such?
yes. Yeah,
No,
something.
nothing of that sort. I mean, I could see questions. I knew I had looked at those questions, but I was not well prepared to handle them. More practice was needed.
All right. So now
So,
take us through what you did in the second phase of the preparation and the second attempt also.
sure. So I just tried to look back at where I was. So I just introspected on which sections my mastery was missing. So I took the ESR report to validate my perspective, and SC and CR were both areas where I had missed out in verbal.
Mm-hmm.
And largely, what I did was then I started to do. There was nothing more to study as such in terms of concepts. It was more to apply and get mastery and accuracy in the stressed time as well. So
Right.
I just gave myself sessions of 1 to 2 hours where I would time myself with say 15 questions of SC in 20 minutes or 15 minutes as well. I would put myself even through more aggressive timelines and
Mm-hmm.
try to solve those questions. So for example, I do 15 SC questions in 15 minutes and at 12 my timer would go. I would then write the other 3 questions in 3 minutes. Maybe I was able to attempt two. Then I would do the last one again in 1 minute, and I would just keep pushing myself to like do time bound accurate thing. And I would over obsess on even if one question is going wrong, why is it going wrong? I did not
Mm-hmm.
follow the official error log process, but I had my own version of it where I would
Right.
looking at the mistakes and the concepts. For example, subject verb agreement, while a very basic concept, it would just not come into my eye. I would miss basic subject verb agreement eliminations in many options
Mm-hmm.
and miss and wrong mark the wrong options. So these were few learnings which came out as patterns, and then I could catch them and eliminate them with practice over time and
And for
create that
CR
muscle memory.
also the same thing or something slightly
Yeah, so
different?
CR initially I felt that I was good at it and it was not a problem area, but as the journey matured, I realized that with I was taking a lot of time solving those questions, and the tougher questions I was not able to find the correct answers very easily. So then
Okay.
it was again the same thing. I don't think there were a lot of concepts to again master, but the application of it and doing it with practice. So I just took some more time, did critical reasoning at a very like on a very focused way for a few days and started to give the official tests on your platform.
Right.
They were harder than the usual questions you would see in
Mm-hmm.
GMAT. And I think that also helped me get prepared mentally to tackle tough questions and not get hassled by a very different sort of question thrown at me.
Right, right, right. So please describe your second real exam. Once again, what was the order of sections you chose? And did you see anything unusual? Did you have anxiety? Did you face pacing challenges? Whatever.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, no, I think all of that happened. So the major difference between the first attempt and second attempt was started to write for the last 10 days. I wrote one mock daily at the time in which I had booked the slot. So
Right.
my slot was 3 p.m., 2:45 to 3 p.m. I would get up in the morning, do some sessions of SC, CR, RC, however I planned that day. And 3 to 6 or that 3 to 5, I gave one official mock either from your platform or MBA.com. I had planned
Mhm.
different mocks for different
Right, right.
days because I wanted to put myself through that schedule because something I really suffered from was test anxiety, even during my
Right.
first attempt and second attempt. Even during my 770 attempt, I puked right before my exam.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
like
All
I
right.
went to the washroom, I looked at the mirror, and the stress of having a break, and that time pressure, it just all came onto my mind. And actually, it helped me clear my mind in some way. But I think the preparation and mastery was to that level that all of that didn't hassle me, and I just kept focused on the exam. I
Right,
always
right.
want before verbal. That is something I had said before the first attempt only. That
Mhm.
quant helps me get warmed up and sort of get some confidence because being from an engineering background, quant is something I didn't struggle a lot with. It was a strength area for me. So I
Mhm.
just thought it would help me get confidence, get it out of the way, and then focus on the part where I needed more work.
Right,
Uh,
right, right.
so that was my strategy. And but even in my 770 attempt in verbal, I had 6 minutes left and 6 questions left. Uh,
Oh,
in the last 6 minutes, and this 6 questions started with a tough RC passage. So at that point, it felt like everything was gonna fall apart. But I think the all the practice and the time stress practice that I had did helped me go through the RC questions. Even I couldn't read the passages fully, but all the techniques and overall just keeping myself focused helped me get through
mhm.
those 3 questions. And the last three were more SC based, easier questions. So I felt that I could ace through that and didn't let that sink my overall score. But yeah, that time.
How did you tackle the last RC? Tell us, because how do people tackle? I'm just asking, man, did you just verify? Did you just, read the relevant portions? Did
Yeah,
you,
so I
what did
think
you
the
do?
first 30 minutes was a bit of panic because I felt that I need to get the passage. But as I
First
scanned
30
through it,
seconds, you mean? Yeah.
yeah, first 30 seconds I skimmed through it, but I realized I was not able to process the whole storyline in terms of
Right.
doing justice to understanding the whole passage. So I skimmed through it to just understand the broad plot line, but there were sections where I was not sure what a certain set of lines was trying to say. So then
Right.
I just moved to verifying. So I read the first question and I read the sub paragraph and tried to understand that. I didn't do word by word verification because I felt that might not lead me to the right answer and might confuse me.
Right.
Uh, and even when I was marking the answers, there were a couple of options for one question where I was not sure. But then I
Hmm.
took my best judgment at that time. But I then read the question, focused on that subsection, and tried to take a call. But it was largely based on verification only.
But it did work out because eventually you did score really
Yeah,
770. So
I
that
was a
really
bit
shows.
tentative in my head whether the score will come or not because of this RC only. That will it go
Okay.
well on?
And was there anything really unusual on the exam, even in the second attempt, that you would say, no, I mean, timing is okay. I mean, you were not
Yeah.
having the time, but otherwise.
I don't think anything unusual. I think it was just tougher than what the official mocks are on the
Yeah, yeah.
platform, significantly tougher than that.
Right,
And I
right.
don't know if it was the test anxiety that made it tougher, but I actually felt the questions were of a higher standard.
But you had practiced our mocks, so probably that
Yes.
practice was there.
Yes. So that
And
experience of giving your mocks, I would many a times giving top exams timeout on the mocks that we would give on the platform. So that
right,
really helped me not get too flustered by it. I knew how to do last minute time management, manage with like 3 minutes, three questions, 2 minutes, two questions, and
right.
I had some practice in doing that.
This is really, really great to know. And this looks like in the second attempt, you really practice a lot more and relied a lot more on the portal. So, all a great story. Some of the things that you will suggest other people that they shouldn't do, like let's say three things that you will say, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Now that you're on the other side.
Right. I think one thing that I did was I went very narrow in terms of preparation, in terms of only doing RC at one time, then only doing CR, and then SC.
Mhm.
It took me 2.5 weeks, and at that time I had lost touch with all of the other topics for some time. And quant I would do as a break in between of
Mhm.
everything else because I felt that whenever I felt that I was a bit overloaded, I would then just move to quant and get that out of the way.
Mhm.
But in that I realized that that consistency of building mastery in one topic would get lost, and I in the end had to start again on RC and CR for a bit because I
Right,
didn't expect SC to be such a large module at that time. I felt it
right.
would be a similar size module. So that was one mistake, and in the end I think that extra 1 month also happened because of that. Otherwise I think the first attempt could have been a similar score if I would have a
Right.
different
So first
approach.
of all, keep doing every area from time to time. Don't
Correct.
let one thing. Okay, that is one. Any other thing
Yeah.
people
I
shouldn't
think
do about?
also then second is booking your date. I think I did rush myself into booking that date. I think if there is one is you give mocks and you get 780 or your dream score and then you book the exam. But the second way is to be honest with yourself and know that you've not done justice to a certain piece. Or for
Right.
example, I looked at SC questions and for a lot of questions I didn't know how to start. And
Yeah.
knowing that I had booked the exam thinking that something will change in say 5 days. I think that was something that could have been avoided, and I
Mhm.
could have maybe closed it in a faster timeline, just studying 2 weeks more and booking a date in the middle of the two exams that I gave.
That's fabulous to know. So these are the two things. Please, everyone, just to summarize, while he's here, so that it's really, really validated. Even for the most well prepared student, one RC passage can mean the end of the story if you lose your cool at that time. It's just that because he had prepared so much with the tougher content, his concentration wasn't fully flustered, and that is probably why he could get to, what was a verbal score second time? 44.
45 and 51.
Oh, 51, 45. Fabulous. Both. I mean, 51 is anyway the highest, and 45, you've touched the 99th percentile. So I think this really tells us that if you have built that muscle memory, you're ready for a shock also. And probably you are a shock absorber at that time. And this works because this is story. Because one RC can actually spoil the party. Imagine that 3 or 4 question RC plus 3 questions in SC. That is 6 questions in the end. There was a large probability of either him missing the time for those or missing the questions altogether if the mind had really been, let's say, flustered in some way. So I guess this. So I really feel that, yes, really putting in that hard practice towards the end and doing each area regularly, these two definitely would have helped you. So what's the plan, Nitin? Are you applying this year or are you applying next year?
Yes, so I'm starting a job on Tuesday again. It's about 3 months, ballpark 3 months of a break since I last had
Mhm.
moved out of my previous organization. I have started to look at the schools I want to apply. Even sitting today, I'm building out my resume for my MBA application. So I'll
Right.
probably be doing 5 to 6 schools this year between R1 and R2.
Very, very happy to know. Do keep us posted with your result, and whatever, if there is a development, just let us know. If you
Yeah,
need any help with stage 2 also, just a formal or informal, either kind of help, just let us know. We'll start the dialogue around that.
sure.
All right, Nitin. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so
your
much.
time,
Thank you,
and
everyone.
I'll proceed with my class. Thank you very
All
much.
right, take care. Bye bye.